So welcome to the day 4 session on APM with Java training. Today we are going to cover up our concept of hashes, which was a topic left from yesterday, and that would complete our collection. And yes, we have to also discuss about the concept of array list. So we'll be covering array list and hashes, and after that we will be covering, if time permits, we will start our discussion on either file handling or regular expression, one of the topic we will pick up today. Okay, so before we begin today's session, do you guys have any questions? Anything which you would like to ask from our yesterday's session? Okay, so you guys are like comfortable? Yes, indeed I have received the assignments. So I will be evaluating them and I'll share the details with you. Like I'll send my feedback the coming week. Okay, so let's begin today's session. So what we are going to first talk about is the concept of array list. So let's have a look at that. So we saw arrays. The main difference between array and an array list is that we can change the size of an array list dynamically. Okay. Once you define an array, the size of the array is basically static. You cannot change the size of the array, though you can change the content of the array. But once you have defined the array of, let's say, size 10 or 5 or 3, you cannot change the size of the array dynamically at runtime. Whereas you can definitely change the size of the array list at runtime. Okay, so there are methods available which allow us to change the content and the size of the array list at the time of execution. So let's have a look at it. How do we create an array list? So as to create an array list, we say array list. We define in the data type. We say AL is equal to new array list. We define in the data type. Okay. So this basically creates an array list which will hold only string values. So this is going to create an array list which will hold only string values. Similarly, I could have created an array list of integer or an array list of double, or I could have created an array list of objects belonging to the same class. So that is all possible. Now, once you have done that, there are different methods which get associated with array list. So if you say AL dot, you get all these methods which belong to the array list class. You have add, you have add all, You have clear, you have contains, which basically tells you whether the array list contains an element or not. Then you have got equal. Then you have got the for each operator, which helps you evaluate the different elements of the array. You have got the method called as index of, which again returns a positive number 0 or more than 0 if it contains, otherwise no. Then you have got a method like remove, remove all, replace, and you can also convert an array list to an array. So these are the inbuilt methods associated with the array list class. So in here I use the method al.add, which will basically add the elements into the array. So we say al.add like apple, guava, banana, strawberry. Then we run our for loop. So the for loop is executed. We read this for loop like this. We create a str object which belongs to the string data type. So for each str in AL, okay. So effectively for each str object in the AL, we are going to simply print the str object. So it will iterate through the AL, access these different elements and will print it. Then we use the remove method. Let's say we say al.remove, in bracket we say 2. So we remove it from the array list. Then we say al.add. So we are adding 2 entities and we are printing it again. So simple example which shows you that how you can add and delete information from an array list, to show you the behavior of the array list, how it is different from that of a array. So you cannot do something like this for an array. You cannot change the content of the array at runtime. So I'm sharing this code with you guys. Have a look at it. I'll just share till here. You can basically remove the method again to print the new array list. So try it out on your system and it will definitely work. And if you have any question, just let me know. So go ahead and try. So basically you had to import the java.util package. Sorry, not shared it with you. This was the statement you should have done. You should have imported the java.util package. Okay. Okay. So once done, let me know. Okay. So now let us have a look at the concept of hashes. So hashes is basically a collection which allows storage of data in the form of key value pair. Okay. So hash is a collection which allows storage of data in the form of a key value pair. That is what a hash is. So the benefit of having a hash is that you are not bound by a numeric index. Basically, sometimes what happens is our data itself is rich. So the data itself contains information which can act as a strong identifier. So data itself contains information which can act as a strong identifier. And we would like to use that information to identify the data set we are accessing. So to allow that, so arrays do not allow you that. The way array is designed, the index value will always be numeric. But what about if my identifier is an alphanumeric or a string value? So to allow that to happen, we basically have to use a concept of collection called as hashes. Okay. So like I said, the hash allows the storage of data in the form of a key value pair. So a key, this is known as the symbol of association, is associated with something called as a value. This is known as the symbol of association. Okay. The key is associated with the value, also known as the associative operator. And that's why a hash is also known as associative array. So effectively, an array of keys is associated with an array of values. That's what a hash is. In other languages, it is also known as a dictionary. So these are the different names which are given to that of a hash. So let us see how do we define a hash and how do we use it. Again, hashes are available in the java.util package. So you define a hash by saying hash map string followed by the name of the hash map like student data. Then you say it is equivalent to new hash map string. Okay. Then you say student data and you use the different methods. For example, you say student data dot. Again, accessibility operator, you have methods like put, get, contains key set, clear, frequently used methods. Then you can also convert a hash to an array. You have remove, replace, size, etc. methods available. Sorry, you cannot convert a hash to an array. Sorry about that. Did not say it right. So you say student data dot put. In here you are feeding the data into an hash. So you first provide the key, then you provide the value. So a value is associated with a hash. Value is associated with the key. So these are the values like ID 001 associated with Bob, 002 associated with another key value, and then you use some methods. For example, one of the method is contains key. So you want to find out whether the hash map contains the key or not. So you provide the key and you use the method contains key. Similarly, use the method contains value. So contains key contains value will effectively return to you true or false depending upon whether key value are there. Then you have got the student method called as the get method. So the get method will basically return to you the value associated with this key. Then moving forward, you have a method called as remove. The method remove is basically going to remove the key value pair from the hash map. Okay, so that is what remove is going to do. Then there is a method called as student data dot key set. The purpose of the key set method is to effectively collect all the values of a key in a set collection and then convert it into an array. So let me explain you what a set is. A set is a collection similar to array, but it can contain only unique values. Okay, so set is a collection similar to an array, but it can contain only unique values. Then you have this for loop. So for int I equal to 0, I less than key array dot length I plus plus. You basically can go ahead and print the data associated with the key array which you have fetched after converting the student data into key set and converting it into an array. So let me run this program. When I execute this program, this is the data which you will get. So whether it contains key, yes. Contains value, yes. Contains value FER, no. Key associated with value associated with key ID 002 is Prithvi. Then after converting the keys of a hash to an array, we iterate through the key array and we use the get method to fetch the value associated with the key so that we can iterate and print the information associated with this hash. Okay? Is this all clear to you? So I'll share this code with you. Please try the concept of hash at your end. And if you have any doubt, let me know. Rather, let me give you guys a small assignment. I'll share the examples of how you can add data to a hash, how you can test the membership, and how you can iterate through the hash, fetch the key value pair, and remove, and how you can iterate through the hash. I'll share this information, and now I'll give you guys a small question which will basically allow you to use all the concepts which we have picked. So this is your question. Create a hash structure to store employee information which is as follows. Employee ID is associated with employee name. I hope you remember the usage of the split command and employee salary. This is the data format, okay? So an employee ID is associated with employee name and employee salary. Example, ID 001 is associated with Tom. ID 002 is associated with Similarly, you can create data sets, have 5 data sets in the hash. From here, you have to find out this information. You have to print the hash data in the following format. Only one thing you guys have to do. You have to print the hash data in the following format, and the format is you will print employee ID E001, employee name, Tom, employee salary. Okay. Similarly, you will move on to another employee and so on and so forth. Okay. So all I want you guys to do is capture this data, then iterate through this data and print the information in the format I am requesting. Is the question clear? So remember, here you have to use the concept of hash. You have to use the concept of strings left, the concept of for. Okay, these are the things you will be using. So first create your pseudocode and then only go ahead and implement it. You guys have 20 minutes to do it. So attempt this assignment. Go ahead. The name is not getting complete, okay? Uh, Let me see the code. So here you are splitting. So you said that you have to fetch the get key array I dot split. So you are in the same line, you are fetching the value and you are splitting it also. So it's actually right. Details 0 should be the name and details 1 should be the income. Actually, what is happening is you are not splitting. When you say get, you have to first get the key array I, then use the split function. I'll just correct it, Nadia. Give me a minute. So I'll just correct it. This has to change a little bit. This should be like this. So you are fetching the details. First you fetch the details. The bracket is wrong. This, okay? So basically you fetch, you use the get function. This will basically fetch the value, this part. Okay, Nadia? This part will fetch the value and then you split it on a pipe. Clear? Yeah, so we need to first fetch the value, then split it. Okay, great. So you are done. So Enaman, you are also done? Great. So shall we move on to the next topic or do you guys want a break? Move on? Okay, Nadia, what about you? Yeah, why not? Show me your code. Okay, so let's move on. Enaman, please show your code. Okay, so here we are done with saving information. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Great work. So you guys are, both of you done well. Very nice. Good work, guys. So with this, we are done with understanding the concept of collections. Okay. So you can, now when you basically come across, you know, questions, you have to identify correctively, with correct information, what type of data structure will you be using, which you should be using to store information. So if the information requires a non-numeric index because the information is strong identifier, use that. Otherwise, use array or array list. If it is required that it has to dynamically change, then we can use array list as well. Okay. So that's how you decide and move on. So we are now going to talk about the concept of first file handling, and if the time permits, we will talk about the concept of regex. We will just talk about regex. We will see its usage later. Like, let's see how it goes. So what we are going to, your screen is really big. What should I do? I mean, sorry, I don't get it, Anand. I did not change anything on my end. Would you like to re-log in? Okay, just try to re-log in. I did not change anything on my end. So let us start with discussion of file handling. So what we have available is what we are going to talk about are text-based files primarily. We will also be seeing in here CSV file, but we will not be seeing Excel file. Excel topic we will talk about when we come to the concept of framework components in Selenium. So we'll start with how we can work with text-based files. And CSV is another way of representing text-based file information. It is just that it is a comma separated value. So basically the operation which we perform is known as the input-output operation, which we perform. So input is reading information from file or console, not console, keyboard, and output is printing information to file or console. So input is reading information from file or keyboard, output is printing information to file or console. So this is the input output function which we can use. So we have already seen usage of input and output function. Do you guys remember where we have seen it? And can you tell me how we used it? System.out.println, yes, that's right. We used it for printing to the console. And did we use anything for reading information also? Scan. Basically system.in. Do you remember that in the bracket we pass system.in when we're creating the scan object? So basically we were wanting to fetch information from the keyboard. That's what we will be doing by using the function system.in. So system.out and system.in are basically two methods which allows you to perform the input output operation, and we will also see their usage in file handling. So we are going to see how we can first write a text file. Okay. To write a text file, there are two types of classes which are available. But before that, another concept, the concept of streams. In Java, every file has two perspectives. One is your physical file. So physical file, physical location of the file. The another is the logical file, which is also known as the stream object. So physical file is where your file is stored in the actual location on your system. Logical file is created from the physical file location, which is known as the stream object, and it is on this stream object that we perform input-output operations. Okay. So logical file basically provides us with the stream object, and it is on this stream object that we perform the input-output operation. Okay. So let us see the classes which we are going to use for the writing first. Print writer and file output stream. So one class is going to access the physical file and convert it into a stream object. The another will take that stream object, process it, and then go give back to the physical file. So print writer and file output stream are two classes which allows us to use them and write a text file. So let's do it. So you basically import a package called as java.io, which contains all the files which we will be requiring for reading writing operation. So we say import java.io and we create our file output stream object first. So we say file output stream FOS is equal to new file output stream and we pass the path to the file. Then we create the print writer object. We say pwriter is equal to new print writer FOS. So basically what we are doing in here is we are passing the file output stream object to this print writer class. Then we say pwriter.println. So the method or the inbuilt method we are going to use is the println method, and we are passing some information in here. Then when we say pwriter.close, it will capture all the information written on the stream object and pass to the physical file. And then we close the handle to the physical file as well, so that the data doesn't get corrupted or the file doesn't get lost. So once this is done on the location of our D drive, this file should get created. Okay. Are you all able to see the file getting created? So try creating the text file on any location on your system, whichever is preferable. Do it, guys. So try it out. I'll just be back. Great. So the next we are going to see is how we can read the file. So to read the file, we have got two classes, file reader and buffer reader. So to read the file, we will be having two classes, file reader and buffer reader. So let's see the code for it. So we create first the reader object where we will pass the path to our file which we want to read. Then this object will be passed to the buffer reader object which we create by saying new buffer reader object. Then we use a method called as the readLine method available with BuffReader, which is supposed to read the file line by line. And then we say inside a while loop, while line is not null, which means while there is still information in the file, we want to print the line and we want to continue reading the file line by line. Then we close the BuffReader and we close the reader object. So when we run it, we are able to read our file. So go ahead, try this out as well. Go ahead and try this out. So yeah, that's what we are going to talk next. So are you guys done reading and writing simple text files? Are you guys done using this code to read and write text files? Inuman, are you also done? Okay, no problem. So for a CSV file, what will happen? CSV file is effectively a comma separated file. So you say data 1, comma data 2, comma data 3, data 4, data 5, data 6. This is how you have information. Now you know how to read the file line by line. We know this, right? How to read file line by line. We also know that once the line is read, the line contains a string which is separated from each other with a comma. So our comma is a delimiter. And we know how to split the string based on a delimiter and fetch individual values. So you say split on a comma, and then inside your array, okay, here, and add 0, you will get your data 1. Add 1, you will get data 2. Add 2, you will get data 3. So you read information of line 1, and then when it is executing inside a while loop, you will, for the next set, R0 will become data 4, data 5, data 6, and so on and so forth. Is this clear? That's how you read a CSV file using the file reader functions and the string split function. So we use both. So I'll give you an assignment around it. So let's take a few assignments now. So your question 1 is, create a CSV file which contains the information as follows. Each line contains 10 numbers and there are 5 lines in the file. For each line, print the average found. That's your first question which you have to do. The second question is, create a hash where the data relation is represented as follows. Student ID is associated with student marks, name, student marks, in here you have to print the name of the student and her ID which has secured the highest marks. Print the name of the student with his/her ID which has secured the lowest marks. This is what you guys have to do. Okay, these are the two questions. So do you guys have any doubt about what all we have covered today so far? Okay. So let's talk about the concept of regular expressions a bit. But we will see the implementation aspect of it the next session. Or would you like to cover the entire topic in the next session only? What would you guys like to do? Because we will need some time to cover up the concept and then cover the topic. So I don't want you guys to forget what we discussed. So is it okay if we end the class today and we will continue next week, where we talk about regular expression and exception handling, and we will start with the concept of object-oriented programming. So by the next weekend, we basically complete our Java and then we will start with APN. Okay? Yeah, that's why I asked you guys, would you have liked the break at that time, or because I don't want to burden you guys also. I definitely get it, Anuman. Thank you for your honesty. Okay. Cool then. Please do your assignments. You have a lot on your plate for the last two classes today, yesterday and today. So take your time, finish it up, practice them up, because next week is our last week of Java and then we will start with APN. Okay? Okay then guys, thank you so much for your time today and your efforts. You guys are doing very well. I'm happy with the progress. Keep it up. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a good week. Bye.